By now, everyone has heard of the Syrian rebels' stunning victory against the Ba'athist Nusayr regime of Bashar al-Assad in Aleppo. In less than 3 days, rebels fighting under the banner of the Military Operations Command, a joint force of 13 different factions, managed to advance from their enclave in Idlib and capture Syria's second city of Aleppo. In a clearly well-orchestrated operation, and using infiltration and shock tactics, the rebels scattered the Assad regime's forces and their allied Iran-backed Shia militias, with the Muslim call to prayer, the adhan, heard ringing out across the newly liberated city in time for evening prayers. But while many can intuitively understand that this is a serious setback for the regime and its Russian and Iranian backers, it's worth emphasizing exactly why Aleppo is so important. Let's break it down. First is Aleppo's status as Syria's second most important city. Historically, it has been Syria's economic backbone and industrial base, manufacturing goods that are then used domestically as well as exported internationally. By depriving Assad of its economic power, as well as the symbolism attached to the ancient and historically important city, the rebels have succeeded in politically reinvigorating the idea that there is still a fight to be had with the regime and the Syrians can win. Secondly, Aleppo's proximity to the rebel enclave of Idlib in Syria's northwest. With the capture of Aleppo and its surrounding climes, the Military Operations Command and the Syrian Salvation Government now exert authority over a large city that is second only to Damascus itself. Some 30% of Syrian refugees who fled to Idlib and Turkey come from the province of Aleppo. They can now imagine a future where they will be able to return with dignity to the homes that were stripped of them by the regime and handed over to members of Iran's various Shia militant groups as spoils of war. Thirdly, Aleppo occupies a strategic location in northwestern Syria, commanding a presence on the M5 International Highway and also leading to the newly liberated Saraqib, immediately to Aleppo's southwest, which also sits astride the M4 highway that directly connects to Assadist-held territories on the Syrian coast, as well as Russian occupation air and naval bases at Hmeimim and Tartus. Finally, that same road network also opens opportunities for the rebels to advance eastwards into territories held by the so-called SDF, part of the Kurdish Marxist PKK terrorist organization. If Turkey decides to properly back the Military Operations Command, or at least cooperate with them, it means that the rebels could potentially have contiguous territory from as far northwest as Idlib, all the way east of the Euphrates River and as far northeast as Al-Hasaka, and possibly even beyond. With their rear secure, and perhaps simultaneously, operations could be launched south towards Hama and Homs, and southeast towards Al-Raqqa. However, while this is all certainly possible, it would depend on the rebels' manpower and also what air power Moscow might bring in to save their beleaguered despot in Damascus. But with economically challenged and politically isolated Russia eyeing an incoming US Trump administration perhaps easing the way to some sort of victory in Ukraine, President Vladimir Putin may yet decide that his country has sunk enough blood and treasure bailing out the hapless Assad, and as long as the rebels don't threaten their warm water naval facilities in the Mediterranean, he may simply decide to abandon him to the fate that had been a long time coming indeed.